My next guest needs no introduction. He has hosted the Twippy Awards twice. He is also the owner of Flip N Out Pinball, the co-host of Straight Down the Middle, in which you can find on YouTube, and he's one of the founders of the Pinball Network, where he currently co-hosts a show called the Pinball Show on that channel. I encourage you guys to check that out. We had a great conversation with this podcast. We talked about basically all things pinball that you can think of. We talked about tournaments. We talked about games that could be coming out. We talked about just some various topics. And I also encourage you guys to stick around and listen until the very end, as we do have a giveaway coming up via Flip N Out Pinball. I think you guys will really enjoy that. Otherwise, great guy, great conversation. I give you guys Zach Meny. You can stare at the camera as long as you want. There you go. And we're live. Mr. Meny, how you doing there?
Love it. How's it going, Travis?
It's going great. I'm glad to finally have you on. Pinball
How
Superstar.
do you pronounce your last name, man? I botch it every time. Is it Murray? Is it Murray? What is it?
Which one do you think it is?
I think it's Travis Murray.
There you go.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, you nailed it. That's why I've never corrected you.
I just don't like when people botch my last name, so I wanted to make sure I got it right.
I mean, I'll be perfectly candid. I actually, even if somebody does mess up my name, I don't even correct them. It's happened so often.
Yeah, I get that too.
It's sometimes I even think I probably just pronounced my own name wrong at times.
I'm just going to call you Marvelous Marv.
That is actually how I got the Marv name. I never even told you that. Yeah, that's actually how it started out. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Intuition.
There you go. You just know. You have a pulse.
You know, I got a feeling on a lot of things in pinball, Travis.
Well, for those that don't know, this is Zach. I think everybody here knows him, so I don't have to say anything more. But yeah, so I'm interested though. We were talking about a little bit off stream about TPN and all things pinball. Can you tell me a little bit about that, about how you came up with the formation of that and how that came about?
So we established what we call the Pinball Network, acronym TPN, back in February. It feels like ages ago because we've went through so many tribulations throughout the start of TPN. Initially, it was just 5 of us buddies that wanted to. We kind of got tired of everybody feeling so separate in the media. We all were doing something. You know, Ken Cromwell was doing Special and Lit. Greg Bone was doing Straight Down the Middle with me. Dennis Creasel was doing Twip podcast with myself. Jason Fowler was Slap Save. Am I missing anybody? My apologies if so. So we were all kind of doing our own separate thing. And we were hanging out for a couple of years prior to that. And we've always talked about, I wonder what it would be like if we were all on the same show. And 5 people on a show doesn't make any sense. So we thought, well, would anybody ever have any interest creating something like a group that we would do the media on? And then as we kind of formulated that idea over months upon months, we finally, there was just, it came to an apex where there were some things going on where I was getting tired. Things felt stale. Same for the other guys. Greg Bone was just drinking beer. He didn't care what was going on. And I even told the guys, this is a side note, really funny. I told the guys, I said, look, it's 5 of us. Don't bank on Greg actually crossing the finish line or even the starting line here. So, and I was right. He didn't, but for other reasons. But yeah, so we just thought about starting up something together. And then we try to figure out what made the most sense. And then we thought, well, hell, why not just include everybody? Because this is a time in pinball where a lot of media, there's conflict, there's competition. We have an award ceremony now. And there was just so much going on that we just got sick and tired of it. And we were like, why don't we just create something that, you know, nearly anybody can join? That way there is some unity in pinball, and whether it's streaming, whether it's videos, whether it's podcasting, you name it, there will be one place, one playground for everybody to kind of hang out and build a good team approach. And we also, you know, the bigger picture for me, and I know I've talked to Ken about this was that if we're going to move pinball forward, if we're going to progress and try to get the eyes of individuals outside of pinball, sure, 25 podcasts could do it. Maybe one stands out to people outside of the pinball industry. But maybe, just maybe, if an outside entity comes in, takes a look and says, what do you mean there's a network? Like that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. But if they just stop to look at the group and teamwork dynamic that we were creating, maybe we could build something from that. So it started February 2020. We've been doing it for 6-7 months, and a lot has changed. Out of the original 5 founders, Dennis Creasel and myself are the last ones standing. We have added some additional committee members to help with decision making and different things, but we've grown rapidly and we continue to grow. Different affiliated streamers, different new podcasts, some new voices, some very veteran seasoned voices, video content, you name it. We try to keep building it. And we're having a blast. I'm still having fun. It's a crap load of work, but it's fun.
Yeah, I was about to say, you guys actually have quite the stable, even all the streamers that you guys have. And there came a time, too, where you guys are basically sending everybody to the big leagues, it seemed like. I mean, what was it? Cromwell went to Jersey Jack, and then you had Raymond Davidson going to Stern. Yeah. And I mean,
that has nothing to do with TPN. I think, if anything, it was because these are great people and we wanted to have great people and our friends as part of this thing. So I think that was just a happy accident. But yeah, Ken Cromwell is just killing it at JJP and Ray Day. Everybody knows if he's not the greatest pinball player out there, he's now, helping design and code some of these pinball machines. It's great. And I don't think this is the last at all, Travis. I think you're going to see other people, not only from TPN, but from media and from competition. I think there's going to be a lot of people that we get in-house in the industry to help create these machines in the future.
Yeah, and that's what's getting really interesting. I actually just listened to an interview just yesterday, as a matter of fact. It was Colin Urban, who is an 18-year-old from Portland, Oregon, national champion and all that. And he was mentioning that he wanted to get into designing pinball in the future, possibly. Cool. So, I mean, it seems like that there's definitely a stable of people coming along, especially even from a competitive side, that are starting to put their stamp on pinball, especially in the future. And that's, I mean, to me, that's going to be interesting, especially with Elwin kind of leading the way in that. Now you have others, kind of joining in. And then I heard recently, it was funny, I was mentioned the other day on my podcast that it felt like playing Hot Wheels, like somebody had a say in that somewhere. They had a competitive background, just the way it was. And then somebody emailed me and told me that Josh Sharp apparently was telling Teolis that he had, I guess, consulted a little bit on either the rules or, I didn't know that either. And then I listened back on what Jeff Teolis's podcast interview with him, and it turns out that's exactly what was going on. I'm like, okay, this is starting to make a little bit more sense a little bit. So,
well, yeah, it does make sense, because I think, doesn't Josh have a Hot Wheels?
Yes. Okay. And I have to brag a little bit. I was told, because I put up a time of 1 minute and 2 seconds. Total humble brag, but I was told that is 1 second ahead of either Josh or Zach Sharp, and 2 seconds ahead. So I bet Zach is probably the one that's 103. Josh is used to getting second place, so he's probably the next one. I
love completing races on that game. That is fun.
It is. I mean, it goes quick, and that game is interesting to me. I thought it was going to leave pretty quick for me. I thought I was just going to play for a month.
I was thinking about that. I was like, I wonder if Mary is going to hold on to this game for a while, or if it'll come and go. So you like it?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, full transparency, I'm still not a fan of the theme, but I find myself, like, whenever I do play pinball, I'll get engrossed with the theme, but sometimes I just get engrossed with the shots. And then I get engrossed with trying to score more or trying to do more, like, theme be damned. I mean, I was at a pinball show a couple of years ago, and I was playing hard body for 30 straight minutes trying to get a high score on that. Yeah, and that's like
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I just get like that. I get very tunnel
That's
vision
why you're
and
one
stuff
of
like
the
that.
best, man. That's why you're a competitive player.
Oh gosh. Well, you got to do what you got to do to try to keep up with people, because some of those guys, it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
No, you don't, because I'm not going to play hard body for an extended amount of time.
Well, you were going to step into the competitive arena, right? For Pinburg this year, weren't you?
Look, last year I got a ticket and I couldn't go. And this year I tried to get a ticket and damned me. I didn't get a ticket, and serves me right. But I was on the wait list. I don't know how deep I was on the wait list. But yeah, I was going to go. And my plan was to film the entire process and make it my very first, I don't know if I made this public yet, but make it my very first tournament, competition, anything formal when it comes to competitive pinball. I wanted to walk a future viewer into my experience with walking through not only a tournament, but the world's largest and greatest pinball tournament of all time. So yeah, I was gonna have a selfie cam, and I was gonna experience the whole thing and do diaries at the end of the night, and but that didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, that honestly, that idea though, you're onto something there. That would have been awesome content right there, because
Thanks,
I've had people ask me about before, is there any way, and this is non-pinball people, they're like, is there any way you can actually just live stream you playing pinball at these events or competitions? Because I don't even know if pinball people are even familiar with this, but there's such thing as IRL streams on Twitch, to where people legitimately just wear backpacks that are just designed with a little camera over here just to show what's going on. And something like that was actually really fascinating when somebody mentioned that to me, just to be able just to go around an event, to be able to play, to be able to show that, to be able to basically connect with your audience in a totally different way.
That was the idea anyway. I don't know if they would have allowed me in, but damned if I wouldn't. I would find a way to film it. I promise you that. Even if I got Bo and Karen's chasing after me, I would still find a way to film the entire process. But I thought it would have been fun, and it would be a good experience for anybody jumping into the competitive scene, because they would see me. It's very intimidating, Travis. Like,
right.
I talk a lot, and I have a podcast, I have a video series and stuff. But when it comes to, I legit am intimidated by the whole process. And it's not so much the playing. I know where my skill level lies. It's not great, it's not horrible, but it's arriving, it's preparing, it's knowing the different exploitations on the different machines. It's checking in. I shit you not, man. I don't know how to check in. Like, I don't know the unwritten rules of where I'm supposed to stand, or all of these things. I'm neurotic, so I have all of these things going on at once, and it is just, it's terrified me so much that I've not competed before. That, and I live in the middle of nowhere where there's not much competition, but yeah, it's terrifying.
Well, you hit the nail on the head on something about that. And that's actually a common concern that I hear from a lot of people, especially even in Oklahoma, that are newer to the scene, that they don't quite understand how it goes or anything like that. And I mean, it can be, if you've never played pinball, it's hard enough stepping up to a pinball machine if you haven't done it before, let alone playing it against other people for something, on the line, and you're not quite sure how to do it because there's so many different formats as well. So
that's the other thing. Like, I'd have no clue. I need to hire somebody to walk with me in these tournaments and be like, okay, this is what you do. Don't do this. Stand here. Smile. Don't do this. That's what I need, because it's terrifying. But I do know that the community that we are a part of is a kick-ass community. And for the most part, everybody would probably walk me through the process and answer any questions I have. But it's just not my personality to be I don't want to be a nuisance in something that I don't really know. So it's tough, man.
Well, the good news is that if Pinburg is your very first tournament you do, you might as well just go straight to the top. You might as well just a division or bust.
Hey, if you're not first, you're last, baby.
I told somebody this the other day, because I only have been to one Pinburg ever, and
that surprises me.
Well, I got into competitive pinball probably about 2.5 years ago now. Like, I've been playing pinball for a little while, but I finally started playing tournaments, and I was too late to go to Pinburg a couple of years ago, no ticket or anything like that, and I didn't want to waste the plane ride there just to watch all my friends play. So I finally got there last year, and like you said, I mean, there is a certain intimidation factor when it comes to not knowing the process or what's going on. But even with Pinburg, one of the things I noticed, people were actually, it was funny compared to other tournaments, people were actually a lot more nice. Oh. In terms of playing and everything. I mean, not saying people aren't welcoming or anything like that, but there was just so many different personalities there, and there's a lot of people there that they may not be the best pinball players in the world, but they genuinely love pinball, and they're reaching out to everybody trying to help people. Now, there were a couple a-holes here and there. I mean, you got 1,000 people.
Go ahead and name them.
Well, okay. There was one time. No. I don't know the name. I don't know the name. If I knew the name, I would say it right now. I know they were playing with Jeff Teolis and Raymond Davidson, boy. 2 pins down from me, right? Mm-hmm. And the only reason why I know this because I was playing Jackbot and I was already on tilt. Like, not tilting the machine. I was just raging because I was missing like every shot. And I'm trapped up and I need to just hit one more into the saucer to start a multi-ball, right? This guy just yells at the top of his lungs, just screams out. It jars me so much that I fumble the ball and drain. I was like, son of a... I was not happy. But I was more mad at myself.
I don't play competitive pinball, but I do watch competitive pinball. And you know who that sounds like to me?
Who?
Sounds like a meteorologist to me.
No.
Eric Stone action?
Yeah, it wasn't Eric Stone. I'll tell you that.
I'm just busting Eric Stone.
Yeah, I don't recognize who it was, but if I knew, I would say it. Because
Eric Stone's one of my favorite people to watch play pinball.
Dude, he is intense.
Yeah,
he is
that's
intense.
what I love. I love watching that intensity.
He gets it done though. I mean, it works for him so well. I mean, I've never seen somebody. So it's funny because I come from a baseball background, and I've seen intense people before, and he is right up there with them in terms of what he's trying to accomplish. And it's actually, for me, it's interesting to watch. Like, I've only talked to him a couple of times. He probably doesn't even remember, but we had the funniest interaction though at Indisc this year. I was with I was standing next to somebody else. I forget who it was, but anyways, so what happened is that Eric Stone, he came up to us because somebody had picked a certain game that I can't remember if he wasn't familiar with it or whatever. Mm-hmm. So he was you could see him going through his process.
Well, because he's not been in it too long either, right?
Right. But you could see him going through his process that he wasn't happy about the pick, you know? But then I literally just told him, I said, well, you're forgetting something. And he's like, oh yeah, what's that? I'm like, you're Eric Stone. Like, and he just goes, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's all it takes.
Yeah, when it comes to somebody like Eric Stone, I don't know if a lot of people are like this, but whenever I'm really passionate about something, Trav, I see it through a certain lens, and I'm always trying to capture a story with how, whether it's pinball that I love or you name it. If I get obsessed with something, I'm always seeing it through a lens, like the thing. And like Eric Stone is one of those characters that I would love to showcase, or I'd love the world to see as a showcased character when it comes to pinball. And there's so many people like that I'm always seeing it through the lens of, how do we tell that story? How do we find a way to take that piece of entertainment and put it to the masses of people, not just pinball people, but the masses, because like you said, there's so much intensity there that needs to be shared with the world. And if we can share his passion with the world, then other people will get into pinball because they'll see that, and it's infectious and people will want that. So that's why I like watching Eric Stone. Keith Elwin is he's very much a 180, but his story is that he is so stoic and so quiet in some certain situations, got a sense of humor. But following him around, the greatest of all time, and he doesn't say anything, and he avoids people. There's just so many damn stories with some of the people in pinball. And sometimes I don't feel like it is being highlighted quite enough with some of the broadcasts and stuff that we see. We see a lot of play, a lot of gameplay.
Right.
But for for my aunt or my cousin just to walk up and say, hey, I know you like pinball, to be able to sit them down and say, this is why I love pinball and this is what pinball is. I don't know. I still think there's something there.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, and I've heard you talk about this before on other podcasts, and even on your pod. No, I'm in complete agreement with you on this because
what? You're in complete agreement?
I'm in complete agreement.
Hear that, Dennis?
And here's why. Here's why I am. Because I look at it from the standpoint of how can pinball grow and what makes it worth watching a little bit easier. And, the truth is, like, I'll watch competitive pinball, but I can't really watch modern competitive pinball. Like, if it's a classics tournament, something to where the rule set is simplified, games are a little bit quicker, like, I'll watch those all day long.
That's interesting.
And so it's one of those things that, I think we're kind of on the same wavelength, that I feel like if somebody could take a broadcast and edit it down, but at the same time be able to interview the people that are currently playing, even if it's after the fact. Like, I'm thinking like World Series of Poker. That's how they really started growing, to where you got to understand these people and these characters. And, even if they were kind of bringing some stuff up a little bit more than what it was, it still made for an entertaining show. And I mean, there's plenty of personalities out there. I mean, Josh Sharp is one. We mentioned him earlier. Some of the stuff he does, it's hilarious. Even while he plays, he's in pressure situations, but he's still screaming and yelling, making the crowd laugh. I mean, stuff like that, to me.
I mean, just think about that, though. You said World Poker Tour. Think about, again, the lens. I'm seeing Josh Sharp. I'm seeing a 30-second intro as, games are playing, 30-second intro about his background, what he does for a living, him interacting in the kitchen with his kids, him pressing the start button. We've got all these little quirks. Bam. We zoom back to him. We've got a couple highlights that have pre-recorded that have happened in that tournament thus far, early rounds kind of stuff. Bam, we go into the next player. This guy's a meteorologist. He's this by day, this by night. Boom, boom, boom. Show some of his highlights. You get about 10 of those characters, and then bam, final round. We'll show the entire final round, about a half an hour. We'll show the whole thing. But you feed those characters to lead up to that final round, to plug for TPN. But right to the final round there, and then that's how people experience pinball. It's just the final round. I don't need anything else.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, and it's one of those things. I actually had a long conversation just a couple of weeks ago with somebody that's been a tournament director for quite some time, and he's a top player also, and we were talking back and forth about this, and I told him that one of the things I think that would really help is when you look at these tournaments, of course, they last a long time, and that's natural, but then you see these live streams that are like 10, 11, 12 hours long. And I think to myself, like, it's okay that they have that, but that can't be your only content. I'm like, make it like episodic, to where you have, an episode that lasts 30 minutes, to where you release it and you kind of show what happens. Like you said, highlights of what's happening in the early rounds. And
or
then
what got them to this tournament, there's so much there.
Yeah, there's a lot. I really feel like they could really do that with the National Heads Up tournament that we have for all the state champions. I feel like that's the perfect time because it's so much easier to follow, and we were talking about it before, that even if they did a high stakes tournament, I mentioned this just the other day, that I feel like there should be a high stakes tournament for like 12 to 24 players, where it might be even a $500 entry fee. You could get somebody like Stern, Jersey Jack, Deep Root, American, whoever wants to sponsor it, and to where you actually make these games matter, to where you do have the background, you do go through the whole production and all that. And I think that's something that would catch on. And you don't need ESPN to do this. You have YouTube. You could easily do a YouTube show, and it would get growth. I got no doubt in my mind it would get growth, and it would change a lot. I mean, it really would.
And there's a lot of competitive people. My co-host of the Pinball Show, Dennis Kriesel, and co-host of the Eclectic Gamers podcast. There you go, Dennis. He always says, Zach, but there's such a large group of people in competitive pinball that don't want it to get any bigger. Like, why? He always asks me, and I always question that too. It's a good question. Why does pinball need to be bigger? I end up just coming up with, the bigger it is, the more resources we have. The more resources we have, the more fun we're going to have. And I know that competitors like money. I like money.
Yep.
And the bigger you make this thing, the more money you're going to win. Instead of just first place, you might get 20th place and win some pretty good money. And it's attention too. Nobody can tell me they don't like attention, a grander, a larger, expanded level of attention. So yeah, when he asked that, I always question, well, he's right. Like, it didn't have to get bigger. Why do I care if it's bigger? I don't even play. And I don't know. I think it's just wanting to be creative and wanting to expand something or make better, always evolving and always going to the next step up. But,
right. Well, man, it's not only that. It's not only that. If you're not going to do it, it's about sustainability too. If you're not going to grow, there's only one place to go. You can't stay the same for an extended period of time. You've got ways to go. And just like that, I don't know if you watched it. Did you watch the Foosballers documentary yet?
I didn't. I saw that promo and I was sold. That's all I needed.
It's really fascinating. It was so much larger than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was huge back in the 70s, and they even detail what happened and how it kind of went down and how they're trying to keep it surviving. And we see there's your roadmap right there of how it happened, why it happened, and what happened afterwards.
Yep.
And so that's why, I could understand that some people they're traditionalists, they may not want something to outgrow, but at the same time, there's tournaments everywhere. If you don't want to go to a tournament that's huge, you can always find one that's not huge. It's really that simple.
Damn it, if foosball can do it, we can do it.
Yeah, well, foosball, they have what I think is an advantage over pinball in the sense that it's simplicity. Like you kind of understand what the rules are. The table doesn't change much. There's
get the ball in the hole.
There's a couple of different types of tables, but it doesn't change the true dynamics of what it is. And I know that that's one of the things about pinball, having different options to play in different eras. It does change the dynamics, but at the same time, it does make it difficult for a viewer that's not into that to follow. That's why it's harder for people to, discover it on Twitch, like live stream watching, because you're not sure what's going on. Like if you watch Call of Duty, you know exactly what's going on. You don't even have to play Call of Duty, and you can understand it after watching it for about 30 seconds. You'll get what's happening. Same thing with Fortnite. Yeah. The same thing with Fortnite.
And we can water down pinball to that degree and say don't let the balls drain, but there's just better ways to do it. And I see some broadcasts now that will do that, where they'll have a transition, where they'll transition into, here are the highlights of what we're going to look for on this table. But man, in between my Josh Sharp piece and my Keith Elwin piece, at transition right to, here are the top 3 keys on, pinball machine number 4. And you got somebody on a green screen. He's going to try to start this. Then she's going to do this. Then they're going to, I don't know. It's just fantasy land, but man, I just can't believe we're not pushing for something like that.
You're onto something. You're onto something, and that's. I know that there's a few people out there that they're not huge competitive players, but they're involved in their local scenes, and they have very similar ideas. And I think somebody eventually is going to do it. I think it's coming pretty quick. Within the next 2 years, I think somebody's going to attempt that, even if it's on a small scale. I go down rabbit holes, and I'm interested in people just the same way you were just talking about. And I found myself, I can't remember his name. I was just going through YouTube, just put in pinball, and I find somebody that's at some place, I think in Georgia or somewhere, and he's just vlogging himself. I don't even know who it was, just vlogging himself playing at a local tournament and talking about it. I was genuinely interested. Yeah. Okay, did this guy win? What's going on? And stuff like that.
What's at stake?
Yeah, exactly. I get hooked on, and I know that I've talked to a couple people before that they've mentioned about doing a documentary on like Pinburg, somebody going to Pinburg and somebody playing. Like they've talked about it before, but of course that's like it's a whole big ordeal. But things like that, people are really into the human nature and who's the person behind, playing. It is fascinating. I think you are onto something there, but at the same time, I think also there's got to be a way to be able to do these tournaments that helps just new people that's never seen it before that will get hooked, like bass fishing or something like that, or like golf. You know, you're just browsing through the channels and you see it and you get that hook. And that's kind of what foosball is. I mean, it's crazy the views that they get. I had no idea. I mean, there's games out there, just individual games with 50 clear up to 300,000 views.
Wow.
I'm like, I can't believe that.
Wow.
It's just bonkers.
Yeah, that, like, I'm obsessed with pinball. I'm invested in pinball. You're not going to find a lot of people more passionate about all aspects of pinball as you are myself. And I'm confused whenever I watch pinball. Now, some of you guys are rolling your eyes and shrug, but it's true. Like, I research the hell out of things when I'm into them, and I'm still confused. There's so many rules in these different games that's the other thing the standardization. People are now turning off your show, Travis. I'm sorry. But finding a way to have some standardization in these games. People
so define what you mean. Define what you mean by standardization, because I've heard you mention this before and I wasn't quite clear.
I am, for entertainment purposes, when I was talking about it before, I'm putting it on thick. But I think there's something here. You just pick a subset of games and you strip them down of anything that's going to distract you, anything that's going to distract the viewer, right? 10 games. I want an audience to get used to 10 games and not 1,000 games. Variety's nice, but if I casually jump into pinball and say, okay, he's playing a machine, then when I turn on the TV again or turn on the internet again and I see them playing another game, oh, I remember them playing that. It's just going to be hard to do that when you have 1,000 different things and everything's got its own little rule and every table's got its own exploit. No, let's standardize the damn things. All of them, there's 10 of them. And, you know, I've said before, strip all the licensing off and stuff like that, make them just like a regulation basketball court, like a regulation table tennis court, just like your foosball table. A foosball table doesn't have 7 holes on one table and then one with 3 hills on it. And no, just 10 of them. Pinball's different, so give me 10, but 10 for people to get used to.
So you're talking about just a play field that in the rule set that's just standard, and that's what is at the tournament, and that's what stays consistent at different tournaments. Is that what you're talking about? Something like that?
And I'm fine taking 10 of the greatest tournament-based rule sets and have them on these machines. I'm fine with that. So the complexity I'm not so much worried about. It's just I don't need so many of them, right? If Metallica is a fantastic competition game, fine. You put the rule set of Metallica in competition series number 3 game. That's fine. But let's get used to number 3 instead of, well, we got Metallica Pro. Oh, well, but I'm playing Metallica Premium at this tournament, and I know that no, just 10 games.
It's fascinating that you mentioned that, because I could get on board with that. I
think about how good you could be at number 7. Like, that's your jam. Number 7. It's standardized. You know that when you go everywhere, the same damn number 7 you're going to play, just like the same Lord of the Rings. There's not much different. Just like the same hot hand. Doesn't matter. But instead of 300 EMs that you have to learn, no. But then again, a lot of people poo-poo me, but I think the skill of pinball, the true skill, should never be determined by the brain and knowledge of, I'm going to be careful, knowledge of
You're talking about just general rule set knowledge.
When I'm watching basketball, LeBron James can slam that ball and he can shoot from the outside. I don't need to know that he's a damn chess player here and he knows 40,000 different plays so that he can get to the basket and sure, it's going to be easy enough to shoot. For me, the true greatest pinball player is one that has ball control and shot accuracy. Sure, making the most, stacking different things and getting that big moment, That's strategy. I get that. But I hate whenever it's like an encyclopedia in your brain. And unless you can tap into all these damn algorithms, if this, then that, then this, then I stack.
Yeah.
That's not pinball to me. It's just not pinball.
Yeah, I hear what you're talking about, especially when, it does. I've heard many of people over the past couple of years that whenever they step up to a pin, they're already defeated simply because their lack of rule knowledge, and they realize it.
That's not pinball. That's not pinball. Pinball is, I got a ball cradled up, I got one shot. Can I hit that or can I not? It's a tight shot. That's pinball.
I think it's interesting that you talk about, because I haven't really ever thought about it from this angle, and I'm willing to think about it from this angle just because I'm trying to rack my brain right now.
Where the hell I'm coming from?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to rack my brain and think of any other sport or any other game to where the rules do differ from game to game over and over and over again. I mean, I guess
that's the
poker,
difference.
Maybe, but everybody that enters a poker event knows how to play it, though. Yeah.
But there's the distinction, though.
Yeah.
There's the distinction between sport and game.
Right.
Is chess a sport? No. It's all up here. Is poker a sport? No. It's not at all. Pinball's physical. Like, you're moving around. Is foosball a sport or a game? What would you answer that?
I'd probably say it's God, that's a good question, because I ask myself if I even think pinball's a sport, but damn it to hell, I get very sore at tournaments. And I don't get sore setting my butt playing video games. So
and for me, it's reaction time too.
Yeah, it is.
It's feel of the game. It's tactile stuff. So I think it's more. And if we're going to do the whole competition thing, if we're going to expand this and get a lot of eyes on it, it needs to be more sport based than game based, in my opinion. So that's why I'm really big on shots, combos, that kind of stuff more so than. And that's why I bust. I'm friends with Dwight Sullivan. And I always bust his chops. I'm like, dude, with your multipliers. People are like, how do you love Ghostbusters? How do you love Star Wars? Because there's moments. Dwight codes moments better than anybody.
Yeah.
But people are like, how do you like Star Wars with the multipliers? I just don't play with them. I don't tap that action button unless I'm going for them damn TIE fighters. That's it. I don't need to, if I'm working too hard in my brain, but that's the difference. And that's why pinball's great. Everybody gets to play for a different reason. Eric Wertenberger, he's an accountant. So he gets off. His brain is all these neurons firing, and he's like, ooh, dopamine. Not me. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, this isn't fun anymore. I feel like I'm balancing a checkbook. Like, no, thanks. No, thanks at all.
Yeah, it's one of those things that really, especially when you start playing a lot of these moderns, you have to know pretty much what leads to what. At least if you're going to compete at a high level, you have to know what leads to what and why you're going there and what are you going to do once you are there. I mean, it's really is. It's pretty intricate, and it just, I can see where you're coming from in terms of wanting something to be standardized to the point. I would actually be really fascinated by that. If there was one particular company that put out tournament style pins, once a year or whatever, whether it could be like 5 or 6 pins or whatever, that were exactly that, to where that's what would go on a circuit. That's what would travel around. That's what would see
those same 10 pins.
That's actually really fascinating, because
know that these locations, you're guaranteed to sell 10 pins every year. Boom.
Because all tournament players would want to play them. Yeah.
These locations are going to want them there. Now, I can't take credit for this. I didn't know that this was discussed before, but what podcast was that on? It might have been on Loser Kid. They interviewed Roger Sharp, and Roger Sharp had been approached in the past, I don't know, probably decades ago, of a group that was trying to do this very thing, standardization of tournament-based pinball machines. So the original idea, I guess, goes to his experience, but and I'm being loud and outrageous with some of these ideas, but I think the only way to move the stick is to get people's attention with this kind of stuff. Because in my opinion, what I've seen since I've been in pinball the last 4 or 5 years, kind of stale at times.
Yeah.
It's kind of stale.
Well, it's like, especially when you're watching pinball, and you're watching it from a competitive standpoint, unless it's an SPC final, like a Stern Pro Circuit final or Pinburg, it does kind of feel redundant after a while. And what's unique about the standardization thought is that, yeah, the gameplay itself could be redundant, but at the same time, like you said, you're seeing highly skilled people rise to the top to where you have to do certain things in a row. And that is fascinating. And that's why I've talked to somebody about this too, that I've often wondered if the fact that games are so complicated today, if that might actually be holding pinball back a little bit. Because when you look at pinball's heyday, especially like when they were making a new Gottlieb, like every month, there was a brand new one coming out, and they were simplified. You could know the rules within a minute. You would understand it. You could explain it even to a child. They would get it immediately. And I've always wondered if any of these companies would be willing to take a chance to release a pin that's like that. And I'm not talking like a Whoa Nelly type pin or something like that. I'm talking, you know what I mean? Like to release something that might be more like the solid states used to be. It doesn't have to be like an EM, but even solid states, the rules are often simplified to where you're just having to do a particular thing. And I've often wondered if that's something that could benefit.
Well, the problem is it didn't sell well. It was called, in my opinion, one of the greatest Stern pinball machines ever made. You heard it. It's called the Beatles, and that's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
It is. Travis, you're going to call me nuts. I think the Beatles shoots better than 98% of any early solid state or EM.
No, you're not nuts.
I just think it does.
I've
played a lot, and give me Beatles or Fathom, please.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Get Barracuda, no. Meteor, I do love me some Meteor, but it's just Beatles, and that's what it is. So it's simplified, but you still get those modes. You still get enough depth and complexity there that you're not racking your brain, but you're still trying to get through modes. You're still trying to get through step systems of those modes, which I love. And then if you can start them all, you get your mini wizard mode. But if you can complete them all, then you get your big wizard mode. Like, that's the depth that I like. And there's a difference between complexity, i.e. Dwight Sullivan multipliers or Lyman sheets, little bitty hidden rules that are hidden in that pinball machine, versus Keith Johnson, where the Hobbit people say is deep. I hate these terms that we keep using, like flow. They can mean so many things.
Yeah.
A game is deep. It can mean so many things. Damn it, you take a Keith Johnson game and a Lyman Sheets game, they're both deep. They're apples and oranges. But Keith Johnson's do get a little lost in the woods there too. But the breadth is what I'm looking for. And the homeowner, a lot of times as a distributor, I can tell you, the homeowner's looking for that as well. They want to go on a journey. They want to not see the same damn 3 modes every single time they play a game. So I love contemporary pinball. Love it, love it, love it. But and it keeps getting bigger and better.
Well, it's interesting too, because just going the complete opposite direction, I actually feel like home pins don't go deep enough. Like,
what do you mean?
Well, for instance, I would like to, let's say you take a video game, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know that you're going to play a campaign.
Yes.
Why is there not a campaign in pinball? I mean, like,
now, to be fair, I think Multimorphic has something like that, where you can save your progress.
Yeah, well, yeah, where you could say, like, I'm talking about, and I haven't played Heist before. I played Lexi Lightspeed, but I'm meaning like let's take Star Trek, for instance, that's behind you, or even Star Wars, anything that has lore to it. Imagine if they actually had a actual story to it, and they do have these stories to it because they mentioned it with Jurassic Park and all that. But imagine that you're actually following this journey to where, you have to hit a certain amount of shots to escape this, and if you do, that'll open up this branch of the storyline. And whenever the ball stops, that scene will play out on the LCD. Like,
yes.
you'll see it play out, and it gives reason for you to actually look at the LCD. Like, I was.
What about if you don't complete your task?
Yeah, if you don't complete,
kill your flippers.
Yeah, kills your flippers.
Why not?
Like,
why not?
Yeah, the way that I'm envisioning this, it's not a 3-ball game. it could be timed. It could be timed to
like
get to the
that.
next chapter, and you either fell or you advance, and you keep advancing on. Maybe you might have a couple of continues, and that's legitimately the game. If you drain, you just get like maybe a 5-second penalty or a 10-second penalty.
Ooh, now you're getting a little too time based for me now. I don't want to be in a hurry here. Don't want to be in a hurry. But
well,
I think I like
shots.
that though. I like the idea that it doesn't have to be regulated by 3 balls. You drain and you're done. You don't hit the damn shots, you might be done as well. Maybe you've earned a continue, so you're fine. But see, I like the new ideas in pinball. So I'm all for that. Sign me up for anything like that. Not too much time based. I don't want too much of that stuff. I want to play the Hobbit without feeling like I got to rush through the thing.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to somebody the other day, and we came up with a full concept of one of the best pinball themes I think that hasn't been done yet. And they need to do it. I think they need to do a Mario Kart racing. I honestly think that theme needs to be done.
See my face? We got video here.
Here's why.
Mario Kart.
Here's why.
Okay.
Everybody I've talked to that puts a Super Mario Brothers out on location, it kills.
Okay.
It absolutely
does
kills.
Well.
And Mario.
But why Mario Kart?
Here's why. Because it gives you reason to actually do something on the LCD in terms of racing. It gives you a reason, just like how Hot Wheels is, where you're racing, you're doing your all that. It gives a race theme, so instantly the music can easily go into it. I mean, you could even the multi-ball to where any shots you hit, you're on a track, you're in a race, and you see yourself go because you hit a certain shot. And you have to hit that shot to make your turn. If you don't, you spin out. I mean, there's all kinds of different things you could do. Because we were talking about this based off the Super Nintendo Mario Kart.
I like Super Nintendo.
And like, to me, something old school like that, to where all of us that are in our 30s to mid 40s, the majority of us played that damn game at some point or another. And that's
the hell out of that game.
Yeah, and that's a theme right there that would instantly attract people that's in our demographic.
Yeah, but that's okay. Take Multimorphic's Cosmic Kart Racing and put Mario Kart on that, where you get to play and you hit certain shots and you get a mystery, and then here comes the green turtle shell, and you're playing to somebody across the country, and here comes the block shot. It's what Multimorphic could have been.
Right.
But I love that.
Well, I think when you're talking about Multimorphic, what really struggles with them is the fact that I think the modular is what holds them back. I know that that's what they want to do to make them different from other people, or try to get their product out there more. But I think the modularity actually holds them back because you have to buy a full system, right?
Yeah.
And all those games, like if I want to buy Heist, for instance, and I want to sell it, who can I actually sell that to? Like the number of people, the number of people that I can sell. It's almost like if you're getting into Multimorphic, you're all in, and you're not. I mean, and that's the difference. Like I get the vision that they want it to be more like a console type thing. Like I get that vision, but man, having to spend $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 on something and then not be able to sell it, because
it feels different. I don't care what people say. It feels different.
It does. I mean, I've played Lexi a couple of times, and it just,
no themes. I think they'll continue to spin their wheels, unfortunately. But there's a lot of cool innovation there, but
yeah. Well, the problem is, I just think it's just not the right innovation.
And they got ball tracking, for Christ's sake. Jeez.
Well, I was hoping the next big innovation would be somebody that could be able to make a pinball machine that wouldn't require any wires. It's just wireless, to where there's no soldering, there's no nothing, to where somehow
everything's plugging.
Yeah, somehow everything can run off the chips or off the circuit boards without actual need for wires. Somehow it runs wireless. Like if I can control something across the world, like that Batman, or I think it's Oktoberfest now, from my computer, how can they not figure this out from just right there if I'm hitting a flipper, something wireless. I mean, it's got to be done, because I think if they did something like that, that's where you get into some interesting things, to where you could have a play field that does flip in the middle of a game, kind of like a lights, camera, action, except for just one little part. It could be the whole entire upper play field. It could be an upper flipper that shifts to the left side from the right side.
Maybe that's what Deep Root's got going.
God, that would be innovation right there, to where the geometry of the whole upper, that would be it. Well,
I love thinking about what pinball could be. I'm even, I get out there, usually it's too late at night and I need sleep, but why do pinball machines have to be the same size? Why do there's so many things I question, like, why do they have to be the same length that they are? Why do they have to be a rectangle? Why does the back box, why can't we do something there that's more interesting than Bonsai Run? Sorry if people like Bonsai Run. There's got to be something else there. Well, I like the creativity you have there, Mary.
Well, it's interesting too, because it's like, I think we're kind of in that spot right now, and this happens in all industries, to where people are going to tend to follow the industry leader for as long as they can until they can do something to disrupt everything. And really the only ones that it seems like that are really boastful about wanting to disrupt is Deep Root, from everything that they've said. Now, are they going to actually follow up on that?
I think Jersey Jack took a stab at disrupting
by trying to get into locations. Right now,
no.
That's the way it seems to me. When they talked about competing directly with Stern, the place to go would be locations.
Yeah, but they know what's going to get in locations. Just drop the damn price. Get the price low enough, it'll go in locations. Just 2013, the technology that they brought forth, some of the different mechanisms, some of the bill of materials that they put into the games. I think they tried to disrupt. I think they went stagnant for a long time. I think they went stagnant from Wizard of Oz to current day.
Yeah.
Not that I don't love their pins, but I think they set a prefaces, and then they, from there on, kind of just stuck in that wheelhouse. I think that's going to change here soon. But it's hard to compete with Stern. Chicago Gaming Company, they have no desire to innovate or to break that mold. Their model is working well. American Pinball, no, they don't worry about that. They just want to be relevant enough to sell pinball machines.
Right.
Multimorphic, they're trying, but they're on a different galaxy. They're not even a different planet, galaxy. And then Deep Root, it's hard to say because it's hard to see what's not there. So.
Well, the most interesting thing about it is too, especially when you are using products or you're trying to sell products, you don't have to knock off the number one product. Meaning you don't have to pass them up to be relevant. What you have to do is make enough space between you and number three, between and number four. Mm-hmm. You do that, you will grab a bigger piece of the pie. I
prefer some things over others. So yeah, I completely agree. I think Adidas does fine. I think Apple did really, really well as number two for a long time. So yeah, I think that's where you see American Pinball, but American Pinball, they're not at number two. But I love talking new pinball too. I thought you were going to bring me on and say, is Stern really going to announce something? Or
gosh.
Is it really Toy Story next for Jersey Jack Pinball?
Well, it's
people buy into this stuff. It's nuts.
Yeah. There's so many different potential themes out there, and the reality is that there's multiple potential themes. It's not as if these companies, at least Stern, they don't go one theme at a time. They have several themes already. They know, and it's always somebody giving information. And it's just like Jaws. Come to find out, the whole Jaws thing, that's what they had on the Jurassic Park playfields. Yeah. That was just the name that they had on there, and somebody ran with that. Now, they could have that theme. I mean, who knows? I don't. It's not really a theme I'm interested in, but they very well could. Now, Toy Story, you have my attention with Toy Story, and that's just because that's something that I feel like my kids would be into, and that's
Trev, don't lie. You're into Toy Story as much as your damn kids.
I am all into Toy Story.
So am I.
I mean, it's well, another theme that I think would do really well is if somebody did Disney World, like Magic Kingdom. I mean, if Jersey Jack did,
I've said that for a while. Yes.
That, I mean, you would have so many elements. You would have Pirates of the, POTC in there. You would have Tron in there. You would have Haunted Mansion, which could be its own damn pin. Haunted Mansion
Splash would do Mountain. You get all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, even Haunted
Space
Mansion.
Mountain. You got.
If Spooky got a hold of Haunted Mansion, like the actual theme from Disney,
I want the same ghosts in there. I want the same the dance hall scene. I want the same all of it.
That would be an instant sellout. That would be an instant sellout.
Mm-hmm. Don't give me any recreations or this is what I would like the Haunted Mansion. No, I don't want to see Eddie Murphy. I want to ride the ride, but have it in between my hands as a pinball machine.
Oh yeah.
I love that idea.
That would be an incredible
Maybe not
theme.
Hall of Presidents, let's be fair. But what are the damn bears that are singing and dancing? Jamboree, country something bears. Yeah, you don't know because you never go there whenever you go to the park. You don't even stop there.
I'm trying to remember.
Or the Swiss Family Robinson house.
Oh, yeah.
Who really goes in that damn tree house? Can we not bulldoze that son of a bitch over? We don't need it. We don't need it. It's 2020. We're not climbing trees. Come on. Frontierland my ass. Get rid of that.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. There's so much, though. Just imagine a pinball machine in which you have the Magic Castle or the Cinderella Castle, like as one of your main things. Like,
right in the middle.
Oh, gosh. We're on to something. We just need to combine our money. We'll just make the damn pin.
And we still won't have it. Well, I don't know. You're doing okay. I'm a pinball distributor. I don't. There's only so much that I can do.
So, what's your thoughts on Guns N' Roses? Since that's like the secret, the open secret that everybody knows at this point.
Yeah, the rumored Guns N' Roses, I think, is an interesting choice in theme. For Jersey Jack Pinball. It really goes off the path of what they have done in their first handful of titles. I think it can work, and I'm eager to see if it is true what a Jersey Jack Pinball music pin is like compared to a Data East music pin or a Stern music pin. I think if Guns N' Roses happens, I don't know if we're allowed to cuss on here, but it's going.
You go ahead.
It's gonna fucking rock. That's what I think. But we'll see. We'll see.
Well, it's interesting too. I don't want to give away too much from what I know.
What the heck? Dang! Look at you, insider.
Everybody talks. You know how it is. I'm just not one to go onto a podcast. Not that I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm just saying for me, I'm just not one to go and just say whatever it is that I'm hearing left and right. Now, if other people are talking about it on podcasts and stuff like that, then it becomes to where I got to enter discussion and everything. All of this, I kind of take with a grain of salt until I see it with my own two eyes. But you have to believe where there's smoke, there's fire. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Where you're hearing it from so many different places. I mean, because the same way, there's a certain theme. I'm not going to name the theme right now, but there's a certain theme that all of a sudden's taken hold. It's the exact same theme I told you about.
We talk.
Yeah. Just a couple of months ago, that I'm like, I think this could have some legs. It's possible, but we didn't come out and say anything about that a couple of months ago. We could have easily done it, and it's just, it's one of those things that I think some things we speculate on, it's probably over the target. A lot closer than what we realize, and some of it is probably so far off that everybody's just laughing their ass off when they hear it.
They are. Yeah, they are.
But that's the fun part about it. It's fun to speculate. I could understand that.
Yeah. It is fun to speculate. some individuals will use that as a sense of power, and they'll use it as a platform to try to harm others. And that's what I don't like that. But yeah, speculation is always fun. Rumors are always fun if they're presented as such. You can't say to yourself, you've heard it here, I've got the goods. Everybody else listens to me because of I'm wonderful and I've got plastic trophy. You can't say that and then say, I know I was wrong, but it was just a rumor. Like, why is everybody hating? Well, because you looked like a complete asshole before the way you were saying it. So yeah, rumors are fun, but yeah, it just depends on how they are presented.
Yeah, everything's got to be with a grain of salt. That's why, I mean, I don't know. Even if I knew something 100% for a fact, I just, me personally, I would always wait just until they announce it. And like I said, that's not a knock on anybody in the industry. That's just kind of how I am. And it's just, to me, I want people to be able that do discuss things with me, because, you know, I hear different things and all that. And I've told you this even, you know, offline and off camera and all that. I've told you, you know, if there's certain things I know, I'm not going to spread it around and tell everybody. Like, it's just because it's not my place. And if it is a rumor, if it is speculation, that's literally what I always say. I'm always like, that's what it is.
So, I don't know when this is going to air. When do you plan on airing this?
Probably.
When are these people watching us right now?
Probably Sunday.
Oh,
most likely
Sunday, actually.
I could put it on whenever you want me to. I can put it on after your stuff.
It doesn't matter to me.
I could put it on directly on Monday as soon as you put, you know, TPS up. We can just
let's
see who's the better co-host, me or Din Din. We can figure that one out.
Competition's coming out of you right now. Do you think we'll get a Stern Pinball new game announcement by
tomorrow?
This week or next week, whatever you want to say?
I don't think we will.
Everybody's saying that. Come on.
I don't think we will.
First week of September. Come on. No.
I mean, it makes sense. The timelines are lining. Well, the timelines are lining up because, you know, just like if you look at what Elwyn's releases usually are, they're usually right around Pinburg. You know what I mean?
Elwyn stuff. Okay.
Well, they usually are, like Iron Maiden, you know, in Jurassic Park. That was at Pinburg. I mean, that's usually his schedule right around that time. Now, I don't know if Elwyn's next or if Steve Ritchie's next. That's the $1 million question. Who's coming up next? But it would make sense to me if Stern waited just for a little while longer, just because Ninja Turtles is the only thing besides Hot Wheels out right now. And obviously Ninja Turtles is outselling Hot Wheels. So I don't really see any reason to make any announcements until you see what Deep Root's doing, until you see what Jersey Jack's doing. Because if you're really wanting to compete, you might as well just announce it right around that time. I mean, that would just be me if I was Stern.
Yeah. Dollars dry up, though.
That is true.
Dollars dry up. If I have a Dynamite theme that I know is going to be better than anything JJP or Deep Root are going to produce, if I throw that theme out there and I expend all those dollars, I'm not only helping my company, but I'm hurting the competition because suddenly I don't have $10,000 for an LE Jersey Jack.
That's true. Do we know when Deep Root is announcing? Do we know when their tour is and all that they're having?
We know September, but we don't know when. Same thing with Jersey Jack Pinball. We've heard September. We just don't know when. It wouldn't surprise me if we don't get a cornerstone from Stern until October, honestly. But if people are hearing what people are hearing, it is what it is.
I'm thinking the earliest Stern would announce something would be mid-September. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think we're far off from it at all.
I don't see. You're hearing it from me. I don't see any vaults. I don't see 2 more cornerstones. I don't see any of it.
Yeah.
I see 1 more cornerstone the rest of the year. That's what I see.
Yep.
Now, maybe they squeeze in a nice little niche Kapow title in there. I don't know, but I don't see a cornerstone. I don't see a cornerstone soon, but we're not told these things as dealers, so I have no I legit have no clue.
It's interesting too because there's no shows. Really, the only show that might possibly happen is the Houston Arcade Expo in November.
Right.
And even then, that's still on shaky ground, you know? And
yeah,
I mean, I don't even know. I've got my room for TPF, but I'm not holding my breath that event's even going to happen.
Too.
You know, so.
Man, I miss my shows.
I mean, it's tough.
Shows.
It's tough.
It is. We've got a lot going on in September. It's well, even we probably won't see anything from CGC. We're not going to see anything from CGC in September. There's that. But you know what? They do call me the Topper King, right?
Yes.
That's what everybody calls me.
I'm well aware of this.
That's how I sign people's 5x8s. Anyway, so they call me the Topper King, and I am here to give you a little bit of news there, Travis.
All right, let's hear it.
CGC is now shipping domestically the Medieval Madness remake accessory kits. Your RGB lighting kit, your topper kit, right?
Really?
And your XL display. There you go. There's some news for you.
Okay.
CGC is now starting to ship those. We get our first shipment in today.
Really? And didn't they just have like a Royal Edition or something like that?
The Royal Edition that included all of those accessories, but for the first time, CGC said, hey, since we've made Medieval Madness years back as LE, in order to make yours just as special, you can now buy the topper and put it on your Medieval Madness remake that you got 5 years ago or 2 years ago, or hell, just this year alone. If you got a classic, you want to put a topper on there, bam, you get a topper. If you want to put RGB lighting in there, boom, upgrade it, you get RGB lighting. So there was a big delay with those kits, and they're just now starting to ship. So you're going to start seeing your buddies and locations have maybe have a classic Medieval Madness remake, but that big extended XL display with the RGB the lights and everything. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. Now,
so there goes some news.
Can I make a confession right now?
I would love to hear it. Yeah.
I am not a topper guy.
We were doing so well. You like Star Wars. I like Star Wars.
I've got
You've
one
seen
topper.
The need for entertainment and competitive pinball, making it short and sweet. I see the.
I do have one topper. I have the Hot Wheels. I have the Hot Wheels topper. I got. I have that topper. That's the one topper I have. I swear. Okay, this will crack it. This is how bad I am about. This is how bad I am about toppers.
Oh, you're gonna break my heart here.
Yeah, this one will make you furious. You might just turn off your whole computer when I tell you this.
Okay.
When I was at Indisc, Black Knight was there, right?
Yeah.
And that was back in January, before the Black Knight topper was even out.
I had the prototype there. Yep.
Yep. Guess
it's
what was
topper
on?
Watch, baby. I'm always watching.
Guess what was on that Black Knight? It was the prototype topper the whole time. Guess who didn't realize that, even though he played it 5 times?
How did you not see a talking head?
I didn't even know. I was so focused in. I was like Eric Stone, just focused in on the game. That's what it was. I had no idea. Somebody mentioned that the topper was there. And I was like an idiot. I'm like, oh, cool. Where is it? And they're like, it's on the game.
On the top, dumbass.
It's like, I had no idea.
That's fantastic. So you're not a big topper guy, huh?
Well, I'm not the type that looks too much at the pin, at least while I'm playing. I could understand.
You're so full of shit. I see premium LE models behind you.
Well, they're all there. I love what's inside them.
You know, I had to get the LE Iron Maiden.
Oh, I didn't even realize. I just learned today that there's a hole on the top part of the back box for the topper. I didn't even know there's a hole up there.
Oh, boy. You know what else it's for now?
Yeah, I do, and that's exactly what I used it for.
That's
an
right.
HDMI. Yeah.
The HDMI direct feed by Stern Pinball.
And that works great. That's so much easier ordering boards from China. That was that's quite the interesting thing you had going on with that.
Yeah.
Now, do you still have like 80 of those? I hope.
No, I didn't get sent my second shipment. So I just the original 30 that I ordered. We ordered at Flip N Out Pinball. We got those out. Majority of them went to some of your main streamers that you hear from out there. A lot of them, those that were part of TPN, got them free of charge as a thank you for doing all they do for the community. And we want to continue to extend that. And once they officially announce them, then we'll continue to support streamers by doing giveaways and trying to get these into everybody's hands.
Do we have an idea of when it will be an official product?
I did ask, and I did not receive an answer. So
did you get a no comment, or did you just get straight up
no response?
Just nothing.
Look, Stern loves me, but I hustle. I'm ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to not know what's going on for my customers and selfishly for myself. So if questions need to be asked, I'll ask them. And I respect them enough. If they don't want to answer them, I've got friends that work there. So when they don't answer, I know what it means. It just means I'm not going to answer you, Zach.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's fine. It's all good.
I'm glad that product is out and is coming out, though, because it's something to me.
That's yours, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the way that I see it too, not only I see it from just even a different point of view. I think not only can it be used for streaming, but when you have people that put, screens up in arcades that show what's going on in the playfield, there's nothing that says that they can't put a smaller screen up that shows the LCD to where you can actually see what's going on.
I did totally name drop you on the last episode of the Pinball Show. I don't know if you listened yet, but you will hear you being name dropped for that very idea, putting it on the head as a topper, putting it on a side display. I gave you credit for that. It's a good idea.
I appreciate it. I just think something like that, just because it would be a lot easier to know what's going on, especially even at tournaments or at an arcade, just watching and just getting a general idea of what's happening. There's so many different applications that you can use for it as opposed to just streaming,
and it's just nicely done. It hooks up easy. I think that individuals, whenever you are able to get those, you're going to be really happy with the ease of that installation and the setup and all that. You're going to love that thing. And I haven't told you this, but look, you got to stay on your toes, baby, whenever you have me in here. Speaking of giveaways, can I give away something to one of your viewers? Can we do that?
Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
What do you got?
This is courtesy of Marv Loco. Flip N Out Pinball, you've been gracious enough to allow us to sponsor your program here. So we would like to give not one, but two things away. How about it? Let's do it.
There you go.
Stern has a brand new product that we're going to be giving away. Not a pinball machine, not a topper. Chill out, people. Come on now. I've already given away adapter. So we're going to give away Stern. I think this is a new product. They've just now released, and we have them in stock at Flip N Out Pinball. They are glass covers. Have you seen these yet?
No. Where are you talking about? Like when you pull off the glass, or
every time that I go play one of my games, I can't keep these things clean all the time. So there's dust and there's fingerprints. My kids are sticking the cheesy fingers. They're gross. So Stern has created, and it's a nice like mat that you lay over the glass when the game is not being played. And it's beautiful too. It looks good. So it's cosmetic, and it prevents all the dust from building up or all the cheesy fingers. And we're going to give two of those away to so one to each of two listeners. Is that what you got that watch this show?
Yeah. Damn.
We're going to give them away here. No, I was just saying because I'm on here this episode. So to get this, to win this, here's what I would like to do. Travis, you tell me if this is okay. I will ship out free of charge in the continental United States. If you needed to go overseas, talk to me. We'll figure something out. But I think all they need to do to win one of these is to share a link to this video on their Facebook page. What do you think?
That's fair enough.
It takes 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. Look at you. Yeah. You know exactly how to get things going, don't you?
I mean, I just like giving away stuff for free, and people win it for free. Like, who wouldn't? Like, if you don't, right now, if you're still watching this after him and I have been talking for like a damn hour plus, if you don't just do this for 5 seconds, I don't know what's wrong with you. Just do it really quick. Copy the video, paste it into your Facebook. Make sure to tag Travis. Where do you want him to tag you at, though? That's the thing. Do you have anything like how do people are going to know?
I don't even know. I'm on Facebook, but I'm not on Facebook, if that makes sense.
Oh, geez.
Like I'm there, but not there.
I tell you what, all you got to do is tag Flip N Out Pinball or myself, Zach Meny, any of that. You tag it somewhere so that I know who Travis can randomly select, and we'll get you out a brand new free Stern Pinball decorative glass cover for your pinball machine.
There you go.
People are going to want these, and they're affordable. They're like $40, right? Hopefully they're official, or they'll go up in price. No, they're like $40 plus shipping. They're nice. We're going to get you some back there. I see all those Sterns.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I could have a Sternament in here, pretty much.
Hell yeah.
But, man, that is awesome. I really do appreciate it. And, Zach, I appreciate you being here tonight so much. It was an enlightening conversation. I feel like, again, you're onto something with the tournament pins and everything. I think that's a conversation that needs to be had, and it doesn't have to be at every single tournament. Yeah. But it can. There's certain portions.
Just give us one, right, Travis? Just give us one. Let us show the world what we can do.
I think it would be interesting. I really do. Plus, I appreciate you being here, talking,
absolutely,
doing everything.
When you asked, man.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add? I think you ended this on a bang.
Oh my gosh, of course, I'm the plug master. Come on. If you're ready to buy a brand new pinball machine, sometimes used, or a beautiful topper, or an Escalera stair climbing hand truck, legit, carry a 300-pound pinball machine with you and your drunk buddies upstairs, okay, you can go to the hospital for that. But cheaper, you can buy an Escalera. It goes right up the stairs with the pinball machine. I can do it by myself, so that's really nice. And then any more, man, if you want adapters, if you name it, if it's pinball. And pretty soon, I haven't announced this yet, we're going to be selling more than just pinball machines.
Whoa,
really? Whoa, straight down the middle is about to take a little turn too, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, so if you'd like to get a hold of anything pinball or fun related, check out our website at flipnoutpinball.com. It's flip the letter N out pinball.com. This is why I get so much shit, because people don't like me doing this. Or call me at 812-457-9711. You can email me too, Zach at flipnoutpinball.com.
There you go. The hardest working man in pinball right there, dude, Zach Meny, ladies and gentlemen. You're the
greatest. You're going to be the fastest growing pinball media. I cannot consume enough. Every time you come out with a stream or a video or something like that, and if I've consumed too much, hell, I just call you on the phone as a friend. So thanks for being my friend, and thanks for all that you do in pinball and growing this industry.
I appreciate that.
Where'd it go?
There you go.